So I'm excited to welcome Mr. Artis Gilmore, Hall of Famer. How are you doing today?
It's not too long ago they just started calling me a Hall of Famer. I was inducted in 2011. Yes, I'm well, thank you.
And then how was that experience, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame and kind of that pinnacle of the entire journey you went through?
Yes, and I like that terminology. It was a journey, and I was able to move forward and excel and reach that pinnacle during that journey.
And then how was the transition from the ABA to the NBA, that entire historic transformation?
I don't think there was an awful lot. I think part of the difference was the NBA received a little bit more national recognition than the ABA. So, in that respect, it was different for guys like myself getting exposure. And then once the league came about, certainly a number of the contests that was involved in the game, the NBA adopted it. They adopted those like the three-point shot, the slam dunk contest. In fact, in the original slam dunk contest, I was the first guy to step up in that.
Really?
In that event, it was just 1 year before the leagues merged. They were hosting the All-Star game in Denver, and at that time they just picked one team against the West, which was the Denver Nuggets entire team as a unit versus the All-Stars like myself and Julius Erving and George Gervin and all the other guys from the league.
So from what I just understand from what you just said, so the first slam dunk contest, you were a part of that.
That's right.
What year was this?
1976.
1976. That's
Yes.
the year I was born.
Yes.
And now you have cars that guys are jumping over and dunking over cars.
I know. 1776. That was the year I was born. And I remember back in Philadelphia when we were.
Yeah, I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Are you okay?"
Yes. I thought
So, how old were you in 1976?
76. Oh, I had played by 4 years in the ABA.
4 years in the
Yeah,
area.
because in 76 was the year, 76, 77, the year the leagues came.
And when you got the news that the leagues were merging, coming together, what was your reaction? Was it exciting? Were you nervous to what was going to happen?
Well,
What was the sentiment back then?
Yeah, I was. There was concern for me because they had selected 4 teams from the ABA, and the Colonels was probably one of the best teams in the league. In fact, we had won the championship the year before, and we were not going to be one of those 4 teams selected. So, me personally, I didn't know what was going to happen.
And then when the merge happened, where did you land? What team were you with?
Chicago Bulls.
The Bulls.
Yes.
Okay.
Chicago Bulls. Yeah.
So in the ABA, you were with
Kentucky Colonels.
the Colonels.
Yes.
Okay. The Colonels have anything to do with KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Well, in a sense, they not really. I think they just named them after them. Yeah. In fact, the owner had a relationship with the Colonel.
Okay, got it.
And he was the owner of the team. So
Yeah, because I live in the state of Utah, and in the state of Utah, on the freeway, there's a sign that says that the first store was there. So it's got some sort of Utah ties
Uh,
instead of Kentucky ties for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty fascinating. You grow up one direction, feeling history, or hearing,
I know.
experiencing history one
Well,
way.
there's a quote that says, "History is a set of lies agreed upon." So
Yeah,
who knows? Depends on who's telling the history,
yes,
depending who wrote
exactly.
the book. In your career, what are some of the main learning lessons that you cherish today? What are some of the main things that you learned and said, "Man, this has made me or helped me become the man that I am today"?
Well, just the experience from both ends. And when I said end, I think we spoke about the area where I grew up in Chipley, Florida, back in the I was born in late 40s. So um, those times in the country, very, very challenging times. I mean, the culture, likes, and schools segregated, and just experiencing those things, the colored bathrooms, and not being able to go into the restaurants. And in fact, personally, I experienced all of that. And then you able to move forward, fast forward in life, and you have a successful career in basketball and in a sport that brought about unity in the country. I mean, you see, they observe the Olympics and what it does for different nations, and that's what sports have been able to do. And that's from that transition time that I experienced as a culture, and that culture growing up and experiencing all the negativity and being able to combine, put it all together, and develop it push it to the point where it's been able to move me forward and allow me to access all the things that I've been able to access in a positive way by pushing all that negativity that I experienced and just blocked. I mean, those thoughts, you can put them into your mind. It's like a computer, and you hold that hard,
Sure.
or you can delete it and push it out and begin a new life. And my life now is about my family. I lost my daughter, one of my daughters, my second oldest daughter, about a little over 3 years ago, and she's provided me with three grandkids, and they just a set of twins just turned 14. Little boy, uh, Mr. Peyton, and he's 10 years old. And that's my focus in life now. And my grandson, he's special needs, one of the twins, the little boy, special needs. And those things, just to see him and watching him develop, that's my inspiration in life. That's the combination of things that I was able to draw from all of that experience of the beginning to this point in my life.
No, it's an impressive story. I mean, going through the things that you had to deal with in Chipley, Florida, with, as you mentioned, segregation and the distinction of this bathroom's for you, this bathroom's for them. You can come into this restaurant, you can't come into this restaurant, etc. To being a Hall of Famer in 2011 and being able to go through what you went through, like it's incredible. It's like almost a different lifetime, I would assume. Just the conditions that you had to go through versus where you are today. But unless you can move forward and not allow that to define who you are, there's no way you could be sitting in this chair today.
Exactly. That's sort of that combination of being able to delete that negativity.
Yeah, I call it failure amnesia, if you will.
Yeah.
Or negativity amnesia. Like you can mope and pout about it, but if it's not
It's not going to change anything.
it's not gonna change it. And
Yeah,
you gotta sometimes embrace the suck.
Find a way.
Yeah. No,
move forward.
That's remarkable. Beautiful story. Okay, final question for you, and I really appreciate your time and all the contributions that you've made, and you're a hero to many. Final thoughts that you want to leave us with as folks viewing. Everybody's dealing with some sort of adversity in their life, whether it be personal adversity, marital adversity, business adversity. What's the best strategy? What's the best guidance that you can give us on how to just deal with adversity so that you can come out triumphantly on the other side?
I would absolutely recommend, deep in your thoughts, just sit down and take a deep, deep sigh of breath and just think about it. Your mind is going to run like, it's the spider webs. Everything is crazy. So what you're doing, you take that time and you take a deep breath and you close your eyes and then you just think about some things. And in situations there are a lot, what happens quite a bit, people, when something happens, you react. You react quickly. Boom, boom, you're right there, respond. But if you take that deep breath, and sometimes that terminology is, we always smell the coffee, smell the roses,
Sure.
But in your life, in your surroundings, that's my recommendation.
Do you think we often create the problem that we're facing? Do you believe that we create a bigger problem in our head than what actually happens in actuality?
Absolutely, no question. And the way we collect our information and the way it is delivered, and just as you indicated, it is so confusing, the way individuals interpreted that information. And what happens is it becomes very confusing.
Fog of war.
Repeat.
Fog of war.
Fog of war. Yeah. And that's the title I would put on to it.
Yeah, I always say we have to be a superhero, and the way you become a superhero is you can see clearly in the dark. And the darkest nights produce the brightest stars. You just have to see through it, know that you're going to come out better on the other side. It requires a lot of faith. And like you said, you got to take those deep breaths and just realize that it's probably not as bad as you imagine in your brain, because if you don't tame the brain, it's going to go there. It's going to go crazy. If you get in your head, you're dead.
Absolutely. As I indicated, it's amazing how the brain operates like a spider web. It's going all these different directions, and you be able to pull and hold that focus of whatever attention that's in front of you at that particular time. You take it on heads up.
Okay.
You're going to have the success you desire.
Okay, beautifully said. I appreciate your time. Thanks for all of your contributions. Thanks, as I mentioned earlier, for being a hero for many. This has been awesome, and that's a wrap. Thank you very much.